Hey, Mike Healy here, and I got another how-to video for you. This how-to video is about understanding how to understand what your prospect is thinking. Now, I don't have a crystal ball, and you probably don't either, but if you understood or you knew exactly what the wants, the needs, the desires of your prospect was, then you can obviously dictate the presentation to show how your business will be the vehicle to achieve those dreams. So let me kind of go through this and break this down for you. Now, what I would tell you is this is a critical point in your business career, is learning this technique. If you understand the psychology behind this and you understand, what I'm about to go through here, it's going to help your recruiting go through the roof. Okay, so let me go ahead and get started. First and foremost, understand that people are only going to join you if they believe that if they know you, like you, and trust you. Know you, like you, and trust you. That's it. People only do business with people they know, like, and trust. Now, what you need to do is you need to get people to, you also have to understand what makes people tick. What is the number one thing that people like to talk about? Obviously themselves, right? The number one thing that people like to talk about is themselves. So what you have to learn how to do if you want to have the presentation go perfectly every single time is you need to be talking to the right people at the right times about the right things, the things that actually interest them, not what things you think interest you. Okay, so this is important. The one thing I had to learn how to do was shut my pie hole. Be quiet when I do it. You might want to go out there and get a book called Listening for Success. I think it's by Stephen Shapiro, something like that, Listening for Success. But here's what I do when I'm sitting down with a prospect. My number one priority is not to get out the flip chart, get out the PowerPoint, draw it on a napkin. That's not my number one priority. My number one priority is to learn the wants and needs in the background of that person. Because the only way they're going to open-mindedly look at my opportunity is if they believe that I have their best interest in mind. Now, at the same time, I am not one of those people that will ever convince somebody to do a business like we do. Like in networking, it's a volunteer army all the time. Okay, so if you convince somebody to come in, you'll have to convince them to stay, and it's just too much work, okay? So here's how a conversation would go. Let's say you and I are sitting together. All I would do is I would just start asking questions about you, okay? What I'm thinking is, knowing what my opportunity is, what I'm about to show you, I need to know what your hot buttons are before I'm ever going to get your attention. The only way to find that out is to ask questions. So what I will do is I'll sit there and I'll say, well, tell me a little bit about yourself. Okay, and you go through, and then you make mention you got some kids. Well, tell me about your kids. How many kids do you have? How old are they? What grades are they in? What are their hobbies? Things like that. What are your hobbies? You married? You got kids? Anything. Okay, what are your sports? What do you like to do? And what I'll do is I will spend the majority of my presentation asking questions to learn about them. Now, what happens is during that time, I'm always making mental notes of what you're saying to me, what things I saw you get passionate about. Was it your kids? Was it, how's work going? Oh my gosh, da-da-da-da, and you went off. Well, if you love your job, the last thing I want to do is turn around and say, well, you're stupid for having a job and you should be an entrepreneur, and didn't you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and be some goof. Okay, I don't want to offend you during my presentation. So what happens is I typically, if I sit down with somebody in an hour-long presentation, 45 minutes of it almost is me asking you questions to find out what your hot buttons are. Because if I'm marketing a product, or if I'm marketing a service, or I'm just trying to get you into the opportunity, I have to know what your hot buttons are. So this is a very simple tip. Most people really overlook at it because you get so excited to present to somebody that you almost throw up on them, and you say, well, we'll be quiet because I want to show you my PowerPoint. Oh, and this was the greatest comp plan ever, and we've got a hybrid blah, 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 and you just go off. You have to stop and listen to the people, okay? People want friendships. People want to know that you care. People don't know much. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. So learn to listen. That's how you get these people to really open up to what you're looking at, and it'll make your presentation go smooth. I close people all the time sheerly for the reason or the fact that I listen, and I dictate the presentation based on what they've said to me. So hopefully this tip helped you. I'll see you on some of the other videos. Thanks.